Hello, today I'm playing The Wanderer, Frankenstein's creature. I have played through this once. I'm going to play through it again. It's a very artistic game. Not much in the way of content warning. There's a few not exactly jump scares, but little surprises, but nothing major. And as far as content goes, it's actually milder than the novel Frankenstein. There's a few things it doesn't go into that the book, of course, does, but I'm going to be doing basically the same things I did on my first playthrough, just so you get an idea of what this is like. And actually there are 4 or 5 different endings, so you'll see a couple of those. Probably a couple of those, seeing as you can get some of the endings all in one playthrough. So anyway, without further ado, here we go. Starting a new game, so here we go. First of all, I remember a strong light pressing upon my nerves, obliging me to close my eyes. When I opened them again, the light poured in upon me. Alba. And most of these chapter titles are in Latin. I apologize, my Latin is not great, but I will do my best. I explored this space as blank as my memory. My limbs were stiff as though after a long slumber. Everything in this place was strange to me. I was like an animal caught in a trap. just a bit about the game design. It does lead you visually. See these little snowy looking particles. It's just really pretty game. I left this place, which I did not know at the time was a gruesome birthplace. I wandered for hours. Memorie. The fresh air caressed my face. Forgotten colors shimmered under my feet. As I write these words years later, I remember this moment of pure joy. I needed to know everything about this place. And that's how it lets you know that that's not the correct order to touch the flowers in. My mind saturated with new sensations, I lost consciousness. A melodious song roused me from this languor. Nature. Again, sparklies. I had discovered harmony, a symphony of emotions of which I was the conductor. I was surrounded by naught but dissonance and hostility. I remained immersed in my thought. Was I destined to remain confined to this corner of nature? Or was there a wider world? A vibration disturbed the calm of this moment. Like a scent of violence filling the air. These wonderful sensations drove me to explore the world. What did it all mean? Who was I? Where was I supposed to go? Minis. I was surrounded by what I thought to be small creatures. Kicking this splendid object amused them a great deal. Spherical object. They cried out, speaking a language that I did not understand. These little ones wanted to lead me somewhere. On both sides, colorful buildings replaced the forest that I had just left. I followed them, overjoyed at not being alone. I was discovering what fear was. They all set upon me. One word kept coming up, again and again. Monster. I did not know the reason for the rage which deformed their features. I had to keep well away from these beings that were called humans. Familiar. Chance had led me to this cottage. I remained cautious and decided to observe its inhabitants. Felix achieved wondrous sounds from this wooden object. I was tempted to join them, but it was too soon. The father had dozed off. I made the most of it to slip inside the cottage. All autumn long I immersed myself in their encyclopedia. Page after page, word after word, I became intoxicated with mankind's knowledge. Autumn something here, something something vegetable patch, something something fruit or vegetables. Something something wanting for meat, something winter is coming. Something head out, something something work, something something. What's the use? Something no longer hiring, something something. Lots of something somethings, something year, something different, something last. Something something Bible, something believe, something something Jesus. Something something saved, something something household. Rabbit, noun. General term which describes a species of mammal classified within the Lepidorae family. Its meat forms part of a healthy diet. To catch it, the hunter or poacher sets his trap after spotting a path that it takes regularly or its burrow. Thank you, Felix. Something something catch, something rabbit. Something don't understand. Something something to do with me. Something rather modest. Something matter? Let us make the most something God's blessing, something something. My thirst for knowledge was insatiable. I was learning about animals and machines, flowers and medicine. My thirst for knowledge was insatiable. I was discovering the arts, writers, painters, and musicians. Something shivering, Father. Something in old bodies, something winter onslaughts. Unfortunately, something too weak to chop wood. My children, something leaving this cottage. Abandoning you, something. Our family, something stay united, something adversity. Something grand old age, something death, something release. Log, noun. A part of the trunk of a tree which has been cut off for heating. Logs are used to fuel a fire in a fireplace. To split logs with an axe, place the log vertically on the chopping block. It must be completely stable. Take the axe with both hands and strike the log with its cutting edge. This part took me a while to figure out on my first playthrough. Raise, hit, and I missed it. And I missed it again. I'm not sure if that's actually missing it or if that's just a built-in. Okay, there we go. Felix, do you hear that noise? No? Outside? It seems like someone is banging. It must be the noise of the ice cracking. You're right, there's nobody there. The fire warms something old bones. These flames something real miracle. God, something miracles. Something tests our faith, something trials. The winter gone, something sun will rise again. Something God protect our family. By the time spring had arrived, I knew all about mankind's knowledge and language. Finally, spring is here. Thanks to the Lord, our family has survived the harshness of winter. We'll be able to harvest fruit and vegetables. As long as the crows have not devastated our vegetable patch. Like last year, let us pray to God so that He removes this scourge from our household. Crow, noun. Coming from the Corvidae family, crows enjoy fruits and vegetables. They prosper around vegetable patches where they inflict significant damage. One way to get rid of these birds is to scare them off, to distance them from crops. God has protected us from these cursed birds. Praise the Lord for his goodness. I'm going to make the most of it to go and sell some vegetables at the market. I'll come with you, Felix. See you later, my children. I'm going to rest my old bones. Had the time come to show myself? Felix and Agatha had gone out. I decided to try my luck. Not being troubled by my appearance, the blind father would perhaps agree to listen to me. By playing him a tune on the cello, I would open his heart. And now we have a mini-game. I am not great at this. Yeah, like I said, I'm not great at the mini games. Who's there? A miserable and abandoned creature. There's nothing to steal here. Take this cello and leave. I'm not a thief. Good God, who are you? My birth made me a wanderer. What's your name? I do not even know if I have a name. Where do you come from? It was last summer. I went through the village on the edge of the forest. Who taught you to play the cello? Over the course of the year, I've learnt everything thanks to your family. You spied on us. I feared that you would reject me. Where do you intend to go? I hope to stay by your side. Your presence does not herald anything good. You were happy indeed to find meat on your table. Was it you who left us those rabbits? I saw hunger tormenting you. You watched over us. Would I find here a consolation for my solitude? I cannot gaze upon your face, but your voice sounds like a sweet melody. It's in harmony with my soul. Do not despair. Man's heart is filled with brotherly love. So why did the humans drive me from their village? Have you done wrong? I always turned away from violence. I believe you to be sincere, man with no name or past. I dream of a family like yours. We are poor and lack resources. I will help you to eat and keep yourselves warm. You are tall and powerful. I'm not but an old man in my twilight years. I'll watch over you like a son protects his father. And would you spend the rest of your days in this cottage lost in the forest? This conversation is going a little differently from my first playthrough. I did actually manage to play the cello all the way through. I don't remember if this blank thing was there. Also in my first playthrough, I did use the retaliate action in the village, which meant I threw a rock back at the villagers and accidentally killed a child. He was not happy about that. It would be a paradise. Let me speak to my children about it. I hear they're back. Okay, actually that was supposed to say it would be a paradise, but it didn't show up. I have heard that some people do have some bugginess with this game. Papa. We're back. My God. I mean you no harm. Are you an animal or the devil himself? What are you doing in our house? And I'm gonna flee. The humans that I encountered had naught but fear and hatred. Everyone rejected me. Why? I wondered. I moved forward through the bleak forest. The damp substance which covered the ground chilled my feet. A little bit of a visual flashiness upcoming, not major, but a little surprising when you first encounter it. Prodigium. Despite the coolness, my throat was dry. Was this fear? Was it fatigue that misled my senses? Was this my face reflected in the waters of the lake? I was indeed this strange creature. My soul did not recognize itself in this grotesque mask. Alas, I did not yet entirely know the fatal effects of my miserable deformity. When the day broke, I left the shelter of this sad forest. Also, the look of that skull image in the water does apparently change depending on whether or not you've taken any violent actions. Colis. In my first playthrough, there was a little bit of a red tinge to that spooky skull instead of the crystal blue in this run. My soul was overwhelmed by sadness. The humans could not see beyond this face which terrified them. Just watch how the background moves up with the roads right here and all this. After days of walking, I found myself in this region that is called Tuscany. Perhaps I would find in these hills a creature who resembled me. Guided by various fragrances, I approached a vast garden. Sculptura. No human beings here, only broken limbs were scattered throughout this place. And I'm going to pause and be right back shortly, so pausing now. Okay, give me just a minute. Having some technical difficulties here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Love is a great miracle worker. It turns stone into flesh. Like Pygmalion, I decided to make a statue who I could make my companion. Shunned by mankind, I would no longer be alone. I had but one idea, making the creature who would be my double. Okay, that's not a leg. Not legs, is this leg. That is an arm. There are lots of different heads and torsos and arms and legs that you can put together for this statue. And your only indication of whether they're left arm, right arm, left leg is in the little selection. Okay, that's another arm. Arm. There's another leggy. Okay, that might be the same leg, but let's find out. As you can see, those legs do not match. Much like Frankenstein creating the creature, these bits and pieces. Ignore my desktop. Torso. This is a very large torso. What form would it take? Is this an arm? Don't want that arm. Its appearance did not concern me greatly, only its existence counted. That's a leg. Arm. It's a little spooky. Were it to be repulsive, I would love it like myself. My work was complete. Would the miracle of life be accomplished? I marvel that my heart was enkindled by the simulacrum of a body. I wanted to embrace it and hold it against me, to feel the marble come to life. I understood that all this was naught but an illusion, a fantasy born of my despair. Life could not spring from inert matter. Like me, this companion I dreamed of would be made of human flesh. I decided to leave this garden of torments with solitude as my only friend. There is also the option to stop squeezing the statue before it breaks, but I wanted to see how the music did. So. I remember this immense pain. Was I born from the void? Sumitatum. No sculptor had shaped me. No family awaited me anywhere on this earth. The sound of the faraway bells resounded in the valley. Drawn to this divine singing coming from the mountains, I headed towards the setting sun. Deus. I am Mary, Mother of God. As I answered his call with faith and humility, I'll bring you the good news. Through your actions, complete this book and open the gates to eternal salvation. I remained in ecstasy facing this statue which spoke to me. Once you are ready. See, right now, this is empty. As you share my suffering, you also share my consolation. And I'm going back through this way so that when I get to the other side, I'm kind of testing a theory. Okay, so we've kind of completed that side, and I want to see... Yes, what is your choice? Religion of joy or of sacrifice? So we've completed the things that fill in this page, and we're going to complete this page in just a moment. I am full of shame and choose to atone for my sins before my brothers and sisters. Before we test that, let's see what else there is. And here we have another musical minigame. Let's see how I do this time. That's what happens if you mess up. So I managed it that time, and that was also me discovering that you can click on the letters and not just push the keys on the keyboard. So that worked a lot better for me just now. Psalm for Easter Mass. The Lord is risen, hallelujah. Like spring over us a new day is dawning. Like spring, Christ is risen. Joy of the world, O Christ, man's friend, joy of the world, we are delivered. God has opened the gate of the garden wide for us again. God has opened it again and told us to enter. Now, another option has appeared in this book. If I am in Christ, I am a new creature. I enter his house with joy. Since we are currently playing as the creature, based on what we have experienced so far, in my last playthrough I went with this option, because as the creature I actually had killed a child by accident and did feel like I needed to atone for things. Also based on just experience with human beings, it seemed like this would be what I as the creature would choose, so I'm going to do that again with this run. Of a God who pardons. Doubt overtook me. Do not delay in making your choice. Which means you have to pick again. Despite my sins, go and join your brothers in suffering. these sins washed away, I will fully belong to the community of men. Precious is the sight of the Lord. In the sight of the Lord is the death of his faithful servants. Jesus said to his disciples, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." Whoa, the devil is among us. Called me, I am coming to you. Do not listen to him, my brothers. The devil is cunning. Let us fight the Prince of Darkness with God's weapons. Nobody will accept me as I am. These believers who professed fraternity pursued me for hours on end. I ran relentlessly all the way to the peak of a mountain. A storm arose. I was exhausted. Industria. My sole refuge was the valley which stretched out at my feet. If I was not God's creature, then I had a father. Already black smoke heralded the city, this hell shaped by man. Gazette de Ingolstadt. Du Mardi 26, December 17, blah blah blah. Monster still at large. We recommend that our readers remain vigilant as the creature, which is terrorizing the population, is still nowhere to be found. Our brave police officers have failed to arrest Dr. Frankenstein, who is suspected of having carried out this horrific experiment. When they burst into his home at 13 Weitzer Street, right in the city center, Victor Frankenstein had already fled. Despite a careful search of his workshop, the investigators were not able to discover his macabre laboratory. I knew it now. My father was very close. My blood boiled at the prospect of this confrontation. Originum. Victor Frankenstein's diary. My terrible secret must remain hidden behind this steel door. I, Victor Frankenstein, have tried to unlock the secret of life. I have brought into the world a creature which threatens mankind's very existence. I will leave this laboratory and block access to it. None shall know the horrible truth. So, this is the door. To mankind's woe, I dreamt of being God's equal. So what we have to do is find what answers the question that will unlock this. Romeo and Juliet, William Shakespeare. Romeo. Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean, abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? For fear of that I still will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Here will I remain with worms that are thy chambermaids. Oh, here will I set up my everlasting rest, and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh. Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, O you the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss, a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct, come, unsavory guide, thou desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks thy seasick weary bark. Here's to my love. O true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus with a kiss I die. Juliet. O churl, drink all, and left no friendly drop to help me after. I will kiss thy lips. Haply some poison yet doth hang on them to make me die with a restorative. Kisses him. Thy lips are warm. Watchman, backstage. Lead, boy, which way? Yea, noise? Then I'll be brief. Seizing Romeo's dagger. O happy dagger, this is thy sheath. She stabs herself. There rust and let me die. And she falls on Romeo's body and dies. Metamorphosis. Ovid. They took the upward path through the still silence, steep and dark, shadowy with dense fog, drawing near to the threshold of the upper world. Orpheus, afraid Eurydice was no longer there and eager to see her, turned his eyes. Instantly she slipped away. He stretched out to her his disappearing arms, eager to rescue her or feel her form, but could hold nothing save the yielding air. Dying the second time, she could not say a word of censure of her husband's fault. What had she to complain of, his great love? Her last word spoken was farewell, which he could barely hear, and with no further sound she fell from him again to Hades. Pygmalion, amazed by the beauty of his ivory statue, fell in love. Aphrodite gives birth to Galatia, who the sculptor marries. Paris, 12th June. My dearest Victor, I am writing to you from Paris, where a delightful comedy by Molière entitled Don Juan, or The Feast with the Statue, is being performed. In it, the noble woman Elvira tries, out of pity, to save the poisonous soul of Don Juan. Where are you? What are you doing? Elizabeth and I are sick with worry. Give us some news. Your friend, Henry. Okay, so we've looked at all of these. Paradise Lost. The Archangel Michael driving Adam and Eve out of paradise. Who in all things wise and just hindered not Satan to attempt the mind of man, with strength entire and free will armed, complete to have discovered and repulsed whatever wiles or foes or seeming friend. For still Adam and Eve knew, and ought to have still remembered, the high injunction not to taste the fruit, whoever tempted, which they not obeying incurred, what could they less, the penalty, and manifold in sin deserved to fall. They, looking back, all the eastern side beheld of paradise, so late their happy seat, waved over by that flaming brand, the gate with dreadful faces thronged in fiery arms. Some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them, where to choose their place of rest, and Providence their guide. They, hand in hand, with wandering steps, and slow, through Eden took their solitary way. Elizabeth Lavenza and Victor Frankenstein have the pleasure of inviting you to their marriage, which will take place at the Ingolstadt Town Hall on 1st January. Tristan and Isolde. When Isolde learned the news, she was dumbstruck with pain. She held him in her arms, she lay down close to him and kissed his mouth and his face. She clasped him against her. She stretched out, her body against his, her mouth against his. She gave up her soul and died beside him of grief for her lover. Tristan died for his love, Isolde because she could not arrive in time. Tristan died for his love, the beautiful Isolde out of her tenderness for him. Geneva, 6th December. My dear Victor, my heart suffers for want of news. Am I to be alone at our marriage? Like Penelope awaiting Odysseus, I have not lost hope that we will be united one day. To relieve my boredom, I am rereading Paradise Lost, the poem by Milton that you love so. Take care of yourself. I beseech you, write. Elizabeth. The Sorrows of Young Werther, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. See, Charlotte, I do not shudder to take the cold and fatal cup, from which I shall drink the draught of death. Your hand presents it to me, and I do not tremble. All is now concluded. The wishes and the hopes of my existence are fulfilled. With cold, unflinching hand I knock at the brazen portals of death. Oh, that I had enjoyed the bliss of dying for you. How gladly would I have sacrificed myself for you, Charlotte, and could I but restore peace and joy to your bosom, with what resolution, with what joy would I not meet my fate? But it is the lot of only a chosen few to shed their blood for their friends, and by their death to augment 1,000 times the happiness of those by whom they are beloved. Alright, let's check out the lock now. So, we've got all these. I'm going to see if I can find anything to fill in those very last 2 slots. Because I think I've read everything in here. But I am curious. I think those are just blank. To mankind's woe I dreamt of being God's equal. If anyone knows, the story of Paradise Lost, which the clues kept pointing us to, then we know knowledge of good and evil, the temptation to be like God, was a fault of Adam and Eve in the story. And I'm going to pause there for today. Hope to finish this maybe tomorrow. So yes, this is The Wanderer, Frankenstein's creature. It's an interesting take on the story of the creature. It's sympathetic, but as you'll see when we get further on, it's not as sympathetic as it could be. So, signing off.